Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Changing Room podcast. Thank you for listening or watching wherever you are. Today, I'm really excited to share today's episode. I spoke to Leann Benich, who is a local vintage and clothing curator here in the Cleveland area, and also just a style icon and amazing outfit curator. She's also probably the number one fan of the Olsen twins and their style, at least in terms of people I know in real life. So we had a lot of fun stuff to talk about in terms of curating your personal style, denim, and her advice on picking out jeans, as well as how her style has evolved and how to allow surprises and contradictions to infuse into your style. And also, if you're someone who's looking to shop smarter and better and are wanting to just kind of expand your knowledge on how to be a good shopper, I highly recommend listening to this episode all the way through. Leann gives some really great advice on how to be a smart shopper and also just how to have fun with shopping and, use it as a useful tool in building your personal style instead of just getting caught up with it. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Yeah, Leann, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you, and especially because we also have Davey here.
Yes.
My sweet little pit bull. He's decided today to make an appearance.
I feel so loved.
We'll see what fashion input he gives.
Yeah.
He has a lot of opinions.
We'll listen for it.
But yeah, thank you for being here. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to chat with you for a while. I feel like whenever I either run into you when you're selling your vintage pieces or if we just run into each other at a local market or something, I feel like we always fall into so many different fashion conversations.
We do. Yeah.
And I also love all the stuff you talk about on your Instagram and the outfits you share.
Thank you.
So I really want to get into kind of your philosophy on style and kind of how we both approach personal style, but I guess I'll start off with the question I start for everybody.
Yes.
Is what are you wearing right
the best
now?
Question of them all.
Yes.
Yeah, like we were talking earlier, it was hard to find an outfit, but I wanted to pick something that I can look back on because this will be out there for probably ever on YouTube or whatever. So I'm like, I want to pick something that is really me, that doesn't change.
Yeah.
And for me, that is just oversized, chic, all the goodness. I am wearing a kimono from Rochelle over at Gypsy Moth. Well, I got it at Slow Union.
Yeah. I wonder if it's 90s or...
She actually told me it's probably 1960s, 70s for this one.
Oh, her 60s and 70s collection is incredible. I'll put her shop and her brand on.
Her
collection's amazing.
She's amazing. I really love her. And I've just been really into kimonos lately, as you know. And this one just checks all the boxes for me because it's, first of all, it's black, my favorite, and it's got a cool hit piece on the back with embroidery. And I'm wearing just a thrifted silk tank underneath, and my favorite jeans of the moment, the Tibby Sid jeans.
Love.
Yeah, and... I mean, you probably see me wear them at least 2 or 3 times a week on my Instagram or whatever. And I know you can't see them, but I'm wearing, I think you pronounce it Lucchese cowboy boots. These ones are from Poshmark. They're fabulous. I love them. And then some of my mom's old jewelry I'm wearing, and some thrifted goodies on my fingers.
Tell me about those bracelets. Or those so are they all one? Or?
No, so these are separate. They're nothing crazy. I just found them on Nordstrom Rack during their big clearance sale for Memorial Day, and they're very Olsen inspired.
Yes,
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I think more so Ashley's been seen wearing them, but they're insane. It's insane price point. It's just I can get something that looks very similar.
They're so cool. I immediately caught my eye because I like how you also are doing a mix of silver and gold. I've been trying to do that too. Well, partly out of necessity because I just honestly I think I have like an even ratio of like gold and silver.
Same.
I can't pick one because I for a while I thought I was switching completely to silver, but then with the summer I've been like going back to gold. So I'm like, I'm just gonna mix and match. So I love the like mismatching on different arms.
Yeah,
like, that's so
I find myself
chic.
doing the same thing. Like wintertime, when I'm doing, you know, it's cold outside, I'm doing lots of layers. I go for silver.
Yeah.
And then once it gets warm, I don't know what happens to me. I'm just like, okay, we're switching over now. We're doing gold, but today, because the nature of the bangles and like the kimono with like the half arm showing, I'm like, let's just do both.
I think you're just so like, every time I see one of your outfits, either in person or on that you post, I just feel like everything, like you have such a clear vision.
Really? Thank you.
That's what I just get immediately. And I love how like, to me at least, it comes off very effortless.
Oh, good.
But then I know like there's a lot of effort that's put into it, which
Definitely.
is good.
Definitely.
Which is good because like I think we sometimes like assume our outfits need to be like effortless, which sometimes maybe they are. Like you just throw something on,
right?
But like there's nothing wrong with like having that intention behind it,
right?
Is there anything like you're loving lately? I know we were just talking off camera a bit about summer,
right,
and how you struggle with the summer. Like, what are you kind of gravitating towards right now, or what are you like either struggling with in terms of putting together outfits? Like at the moment.
At the moment, I am. You know what? It's weird because I don't know whether you can call them like they're trends of the summer, because I don't want to subscribe to trends. There's a lot of trends I don't like, but what I do see surfacing through just like looking through Pinterest, whether it be old photos that keep populating on my feed, it's scarves. Silk scarves. I know you love them. You do them so well.
Thank you.
You're a big inspiration for me with just implementing them into my daily outfits in ways that you just wouldn't think to, like naturally. But scarves, kimonos, velvet, silk, short, long. And I actually picked up not only this one, but I picked up a couple long ones from Rochelle. And just to have a mix of what I can play with as the weather changes. Yeah. And oh man, as far as like what I'm really into, it's always blazers. So I realized I can't wear any of the wool. Same. You know, the wool blazers that I love to wear, the big androgynous, oversized boxy ones. So I went on the hunt for silk ones, silk blazers, and you know, I've been looking at old pictures of the Olsens when they would wear fitted blazers that cinched you at the waist, but they would wear like a well-balanced bottom to kind of create this like hourglass shape.
Oh, I love that.
And they didn't know they were doing it. I'm sure they didn't, like, because they just throw on clothes and they just look incredible. Yeah. But like as I analyze them, I'm just like, they're so petite, they're so little, and it's like they could throw in a bag and it would be incredible because you know they're just like the tiniest little creatures. But yeah, so I'm really into like the silk fitted blazers right now with like a bigger bottom, and I feel like because I love wearing kind of like the baggy jeans right now, that's been cool for me to play around with. And in terms of what it's, you know, my challenges right now, it's like, you know me, I just want to wear black is my comfort. I want to wear big and baggy. I want to wear. I mean, most of what I wear, except for today, honestly, is like menswear, like menswear from head to toe most of the time. So it's been a little challenging. I'm like, okay, I'm going to play with dresses. I'm going to play with skirts because it's hot, but you know.
And I like how you're finding kind of summer layer versions of things you like. So, you know, you like blazers, but maybe, you know, a silk blazer instead of like a heavier blazer for the summer, or like the kimono is like genius, or even just like silk robes in general. Like there's so many different variations and designs of like silk cover-ups. Like in my most recent newsletter where I was writing about dressing in the heat, I talked about bed jackets. So there's a lot of like there's like cropped ones, there's like long chemise ones, and I didn't even think of kimonos. I'm like, They have such a fun, like, or kind of just like such an easy shape, and you're still adding a layer, but it doesn't feel like you're sweating your butt off.
No, I don't know. I don't know if kimonos will come back, if you'll see them on the runways, which I know they will. Over time, everything comes back.
Yes. Yeah.
But, you know, you got to like what you like. And who cares if they're not selling it in the stores or you don't see other girls wearing it. Yeah. It's like, those types of pieces are chic, and they're elegant, and they're feminine, and there's so much versatility in them too.
Timeless,
you know? They're timeless.
Absolutely.
Truly. Yeah.
And I think that's cool. You found them at you said Slow Union, which is a local vintage store here in Cleveland. If anybody out of town is listening, highly recommend going there. It's just such a cool combination of the best curators in Cleveland. Some of the best, literally.
Totally agree.
That's why I love going to vintage stores, because they're not really dictated by trends as heavily. Yeah. Or if they are, they're still pulling kind of from the past.
Exactly.
So it's not exactly like those new things that are specifically created because they're like, we know that people are trying to, you know, follow this and this and this. And I think at vintage stores you can find something that fits into your closet and kind of helps you explore. I've been trying to become more and more consistent and repetitive with my style, because I'm like, sometimes I felt like I got into a place where I was like, okay, I'm experimenting too much, and I'm experimenting for like the wrong reasons. Like I'm trying to like replicate things that aren't me or something, or I'm trying or I'm trying to be like loud for loud's sake, which is fine. Like that kind of helps you learn things about yourself. But I'm trying to be like, I've been kind of trying to be more consistent and plan out my outfits. Like you were asking me, I think, like if I like kind of, because I bought some pieces from you, like this is actually from your shop, and like I was thinking of this piece and the vest I bought, like, okay, I know exactly how this is going to fit into like my outfit formulas that I have rotating. But then the bag I bought, that was like, I didn't even expect.
It's like a little statement.
I know. I'm like, this is a statement. This is something funky. This is, I don't know how I'm going to style this, but that's part of the fun.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So I'm trying to always like find that balance of like having those formulas, but then also having those things where like, I'm going to pick this up and we're just going to let it take me.
Right.
So yeah. And in terms of the summer, it's like, I don't know. Today it's actually a little bit cooler, but
I was very grateful.
I know,
today. It's like, oh, 74. I can work with this.
Because I love jeans too, and we'll talk about jeans in a minute because I love your thoughts on jeans. Thanks. But let's talk about some of your favorite style inspirations. So I will already take a wild guess that Mary Kate and Ashley, you're a big fan, and I love that because I swear I've sometimes just screenshot your stories because they definitely occupy a big amount of my Pinterest too. But like sometimes you just, I don't know, you find like such deep dive. I am deep diving on Pinterest
photos
of them. So, I mean, let's talk about them and any other like inspirations you want to talk about. Like what inspires you about them?
Oh, wow. You know, I have a similar story as every other girl my age that, you know, you grow up watching them, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have nostalgia for, you know, how they made me feel when I was a kid, or, you know, I have all these memories of me like watching all their movies, which I did, and all their books, and shop their line at Walmart and things like that. It's who it's what I resonate with now as an adult, and how that translates to like what they're doing and how they carry themselves. And my inspiration around them is just, it doesn't actually so much come down to the clothes that they're wearing as it does the attitude that they have. And in a world where people care so much about being seen and heard, which we see a lot with celebrities and influencers, and they have just remained so collected and so they're like the autonomy that they have. It's just they walk around with such poise and they don't care. They really don't care what the media says, what anyone says about them, and that inspires me. It's like They don't have, it's even hard to pinpoint their style because they're constantly surprising us.
They are.
I mean, you could go down to the sneakers that they wear, to, the bags that they carry, or the hair clips that they put in their hair. I mean, it's like there's no formula that they're following. They're just throwing on clothes that they love. And I know that they rewear their entire closet continually for years.
I saw that in one of your highlights.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's such a big pinnacle of style, is like repeating outfits.
Yeah, and I kind of have an issue with like not being attached to my clothes. I mean, there's some girls I know that are like, oh, I've had that jacket since high school, and like I have so many memories in that jacket. I'm like, ooh, I have like maybe something for a year, and then it gets recycled in my Clash store, or I give it to a friend, or what have you. And it's like, I want to adopt that even mindset that they have with like, I wore this when I was 18 and now I'm almost 33 and I still love it as much as I did. And it's like, and having clothes to pass down to loved ones and things, it's like, I just love what they do with the old. They do so much with the old that it makes anything new that they wear seem just like groundbreaking, because it's just the outfits they put together are just profound, because a lot of it is vintage and it's old. And they modernize what they're wearing because they're living in a modern world, and I mean, I might look at them completely different than the average person looks at them and just think like, wow, they're just really the coolest. So heavily inspired by the Olsens, just for their absolute just attitude and vibe, to be honest.
It's almost there, and I see other, like, I have a lot of people I take inspiration from as well who have this same element of like sureness, like self-assuredness, I guess, where it's kind of like you said, it's not necessarily like I want their clothes, I want their self-assuredness. Like I want to feel that like just affirmative about what I'm wearing, what I'm putting on. And so, and it just, the way it like oozes through every photo, you could just see it. And I definitely take a lot of inspiration from them too, but only like as of recently, as my kind of, I was kind of forced to kind of, not forced, but like I kind of like was like, I need to kind of start from like scratch a little bit, like a couple years ago, and I need to like figure out what I like, what I don't like. And I just, same thing with them. I just really liked how they utilized, also like they utilize a lot of like neutrals, but like in a very revolutionary way. Like I really don't know how they do it, but I really like how you said they like use the old, because that's so true. And I think you maybe wouldn't think that if you're someone who doesn't know much about them, like, oh, I'm assuming that's new or old or whatever. But like, that's actually such a good like thing that they do, you know, because it kind of shows like, hey, like shopping with like that assuredness, being sure of what you want will make your like closet last longer.
Or sure that you're just you really love it. To be sure that you really love it. And I mean, I've been inspired to even shop like that now. It's like, Leann, stop with that's trendy, or you know, don't buy those jeans because you see them everywhere. You're going to see them everywhere because it's a trend, and it's going to die.
And then one day you're not going to see them everywhere.
And you're not going to see them ever again. And it's like, do you really love them as much as you feel you love them? You know, so it's like wanting to adopt the Olsen mindset of like, just wear what's old in your closet and make it look new. You know, wear it out, test it out. And
and they have another thing I really like about them. They have that worn in style.
Oh yes.
Like it's not pristine. Nope. It's not like perfectly, and I've really come to love that. There was like a Prada show, I think it was 2 years ago, where they utilized a lot of like Sivan and I talked about it from Refried, and we talked kind of about how they utilized a lot of like elements in it that showed kind of the wear that we put in clothes. So like there were like sweaters of intentional creasing and you know, obviously ripped jeans have always been around and stuff, but kind of just those slight elements, not even like very dramatic, but just kind of, I don't know. I feel this way about home decor too. I'm like, I want my home and I want even my style to feel lived in.
Homey.
I don't want it to feel like I just walked out of a store with like a brand new outfit, because then like that's not me. I haven't left my mark on it.
Yeah.
And they do that. Like you look at them carrying around their Hermes bags, and they're just worn into the
and they're hanging open. Literally anything could fall out of them.
I know. They're
That's
just
what
like,
I love.
and I love that. Yeah, exactly. I love how just like easy breezy that is.
They don't seem like they hyper cherish anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they do cherish their belongings, but like nothing is so precious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you could also say that like wearing your things out more and more is a way of cherishing them.
Yeah.
Is a way of taking.
I like that. Yeah.
Because I think again there's so much focus on newness and the new, and like, and again it's like I think there is a shift happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of their style is right now kind of being like popping up more and more.
Right. I agree.
And again, maybe it's just because it's always been very timeless since they kind of came onto the scene like that. But yeah. What do you think of the row?
You know what? It is interesting to me to know that these are the clothes that they design.
Yeah.
And they're so centered around timeless, classic luxury pieces that are extremely wearable, and that are meant to last.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because we see the row on the runway as pressed and perfect, and just the silhouettes are just so sharp and so clean cut. And what I think their intention is, it's like that's the beginning. That's just the beginning of the outfit. Wait until the years pass and you keep wearing it, you keep pulling it out, you keep using it. And then 20 years from now, that is going to take on a whole new form because you've lived in it. You've gone everywhere in that coat, you know? So I look at it from the aspect of like, yes, this is very, very clean to me now. But if I invested in a piece like that, I know I would wear the hell out of it. And it would take on a whole new form. And that's what we see them do with their personal wardrobes.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's what you want, especially out of a luxury piece. I think with, I feel like luxury, there's so many different, like, I don't know, definitions for it. And have you seen kind of like the buzzword? I don't know, some people describe it as a trend, some people describe it as like almost a sociological thing, but like the quiet luxury. And I think it's interesting. There's so many different sides you can come at it, but I think I think probably the row would fall into quiet luxury.
I would agree,
because it's very subtle. And it's very, but I really love how you describe that. Like it's the beginning, and I mean, what luxury means to me is something like, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of money on an expensive thing, but if it lasts me pretty much my whole life, then that's very luxurious, and it's not the luxury aspect isn't just like that smell of that new item, although that's very nice too.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, the smell of a new item.
Yeah,
is just
and
like,
the feel and the freshness.
It's euphoric. It like does something to you. It really does.
And it's almost like this kind of, and that's like really exciting about seeing any like runway shows. A lot of times, like kind of like thinking of, or even a new item or a new collection, kind of like there is excitement to that newness. Like newness doesn't always have to be like a bad thing.
Yeah.
It kind of looking at it in the way of like, what could this be?
Yeah.
What are the possibilities with this piece?
Right.
Is it just gonna, and how can it fit into my life?
Exactly.
No, but I love all their collections. I'm always like, every time they come out with something, I'm just like, it's so, and they do experiment still, even though they do.
Yeah, they're full of surprises.
I saw, when I went to, which Met exhibition was it? It was, I need to find a photo and actually put it in, but the America Lexicon of Fashion exhibit from a couple years back. So they had a bunch of like American designer pieces on display, and they had one of the rose pieces.
He's snoring right into the microphone.
I think it'll be okay.
Oh my gosh, his nose is like right there.
Oh my God. He's so funny. He's like, I gotta get my input.
Yeah.
But it was like this just beautiful like whole outfit like made of knitted yarn, and it was almost like a scarf made into kind of like a shawl, and it was all in this beige color, but so it wasn't like the most colorful thing in the world, but it looked very unique still because it was like creating this interesting,
it was textured
shape, the texture, and I think you can find that uniqueness in different ways.
And just the way, speaking of texture and shape, with what that you're describing, it's like the Olsens are seen wearing really wrinkled clothes all the time, and that creates texture. They don't care about being prim and proper and pressed. It's like they have millions of dollars and no F's to give. They really don't. And it's like, you just don't expect that from someone who is so successful and so wealthy to care so little about how they're photographed in the world. And it's like, I know I care a lot about how I look and how I present myself to the world. It's like, how do you get to that level? Like, how do you truly get to that level of like embodying I don't care, literally.
And it's amazing how your clothes can be such a big piece of that.
Yeah, for real.
Because you don't want to, I just think like that effortlessness really goes through, and also, what else was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. Oh, and I like in one of your stories, you kind of talked about about their hair. Yeah. How their hair is a big part of and I've heard people describe Chloe Sevigny this way too, that she, a lot of times, her style is like a bit more eclectic and stuff, but she also is very known for having very undone, simple hair. Like it's always like maybe a little bit messy, and kind of that juxtaposed with the outfit. Like what do you like about that?
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you personally, I don't feel right when my hair is up. I don't feel right when my hair is straight. Honestly, I don't even feel right when my hair is silky, smooth, and soft, because I know myself, and I know that I have frizzy hair. I have frizzy hair. I have kinky hair. It's not pretty wavy. It's kinky. This is braided hair, so this isn't my real natural texture. But I really resonate with just show up as you are with the hair that you're given, because it's your crown, you know? And it's like, I was born with this head of hair that I can't change. And if it gets dirty, it gets dirty. If it's clean, it's clean. And, I've tried to do the cute, like, warrior braids and the pigtails and the claw clip that I still can't figure out how to do. And it doesn't feel like something I would naturally do. Right. You know how some girls just throw their hair in a messy bun, and you get so pissed because you're just like,
how did they do that?
Did you get that gorgeous bun? Like, you didn't even try. And to me, it's like, if I have to think for more than 2 minutes on how I'm going to get my hair up a certain way, it's not worth my time. And like, I already spend so much time thinking about how I want to show up in the world with my clothes, that I don't want to think about my hair, and I don't want to think about my makeup. Although I do both. I do my makeup every day, I do my hair every day, but it's like, let's make it simple. Let's make it simple, and it's how I feel, I'm being true to how I feel about myself.
I feel the same way. The only time I put my hair up is really out of necessity, because it is very thick, and I get very like overstimulated by it sometimes, because I'm like, I feel hot. But yeah, it's just like, I've never, and again, for some other people, like it feels right to put it up. It feels right to, braid it and stuff like that. But I think it's like, I think the Olsens have that.
He definitely is really snoring.
Definitely have that lived in look to them that kind of like fits so well with their style. And it's so aspirational, but at the same time, you're like it's so easy. So I don't know. Yeah, I love how you said, like, it's just kind of all about
It's a tricky
attitude.
thing, because I know people in real life that they don't feel themselves when their hair is a mess. They don't. And that's not something anyone could fix or change for them. That's not something that they could fix or change for themselves. There are some people that have gorgeous, flawless hair, and they always will, because that is who they are. And I never will. I've accepted I will never have locks of just shiny, soft hair, and I'll never have it. And I'm happy. I'm happy to have this head of hair because I have hair. You know, I could not have hair. And so it's like, you just really have to learn to love what you have. Like, I know girls with like pixie cuts that have pixie cuts because their hair is really thin and they really don't have a choice. But I don't know anyone who rocks a better pixie cut than that person. So it's like, to you, it might be an insecurity. Or like, kind of like a bummer, like, oh, I'll never really have that type of hair. But to someone else looking at you, they think you're the prettiest. They think you're the coolest because they've never seen hair like yours. You know, so it's just a different way of looking at it.
It's all about that perception.
It is.
At the end of the day. And I think it's interesting how hair impacts us a lot in that way. And what was else? So I kind of said this, I think, at the beginning, like, I feel like you just have such a clear vision of your style, and your style is just always so, I don't know, it's clear you definitely take a lot of inspiration from the Olsens, but it's also like your own mix to it. And I love all the content you post and the outfits you post, because you're always kind of like, it seems like you're always just like in movement, like you're always like, and I love that because it inspires me to kind of play around with layers more, even when I'm like not on the move. And I guess, like, how, do you find that balance between, because I kind of talked about like consistency versus like exploring new things. How do you kind of find that kind of middle ground, I guess? Like, when you're kind of, like, how do you decide, like, oh, I might want to try something new right now, even whether it's a trend or not, I guess, then how do you fit it in?
That's a great question. It's funny because I feel like I know my style DNA. I know deep down what it is, but I don't like to remain the same as a person ever. Change and growth is like the only thing I want to experience. Well, not the only thing I want to experience in life, but it is one of the biggest components of what I want in my life. I want to change every year. I want to be able to look back and say, I grew emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever it be. There's just got to be something. And so when I know my style DNA, and I care about change, and I care about growing, I just think, what are some just simple things that I can do to kind of experience something new and to grow? And just learn something new. And that is with, like, adding more jewelry or maybe a pop of red, which I've never done, but you're seeing me do more of now.
You are playing with red.
I've never done red in my life, and I've discovered that red makes me feel really powerful. And I've tried purple, I've tried blue, I've tried green, but no color makes me feel more powerful than red. And that's a big thing for me, is feeling your own power and knowing what you're capable of and knowing who you are and where you stand as a person. It's like, man, black and red is just like, it's I feel so good in it. And in terms of experimenting with things that are new, it's like, it's just knowing that you can, and no one can tell you, well, you never do that. So why are you doing that? Like, that's like, I feel like I would shock a lot of people if I wore floral, or I would shock a lot of people if I wore all white from head to toe. And some people would really love it because they would be like, oh, Leann, you never do that. Like, wow, I've never seen you in all white before. And it's like, I can do whatever I want. Like, you're not bound to one style DNA. And, I learned that from the Olsens. It's like, you think that they're only supposed to wear the row because they're designers of the row. Like, no, they wear vintage clothing from years past. And it's like, there's no explanation. You don't need an explanation. You know, no one deserves an explanation. It's like, so that's where I find myself more, allowing myself to be more free with experimenting, when you kind of have the attitude of like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because you are a vessel. Your body is a body. You can put anything you want on it at any time. I could wear heavy black eyeliner if I want to. I can take all my self tanner off and be as pale as a ghost. I can do anything I want. So it's like, once you just kind of tell yourself that I'm not dressing to please anyone, I only want to feel how I want to feel in my clothes and in my body, then it makes it a lot easier to experiment, because I started to realize that like people are more people pleasing than they think. I'm more people pleasing than I think. And you know, I kind of, you know, I'm a little rough around the edges. I have opinions. I love manual labor, and I love to like get my hands dirty and play with the boys and things like that. And I've realized that like I can be feminine if I want. I can be really ultra feminine if I want to, and have a good balance of masculinity too. And I don't have to explain it to anyone. And going back to the people pleasing part, it's like, you know, I find that like there can be a lot of girls that I know that, you know, they're of a certain age, and they feel like they have to dress for men, or dress for the male gaze, or get attention. And like, I know other girls that like don't want any attention from men whatsoever, so they just cover up from head to toe. And it's like, we're people pleasing. Like what we're doing, like that in and of itself is people pleasing. It's trying to give other people what they want, or what you think they want, you know? So it's like, you got to catch yourself. Like, why am I doing this? Like, and even social media can become a big issue too, because it's like, you know, they say like, if you want to grow, you know, you got to post like every day, and you've got to, you know, and, you know, I'll get into conversations with my husband too about like, you know, there's certain people that just get more attention online because they do certain things. And it's like, you know, girls that show their butts all the time, like that's an instant like, woo, like, you know, it's an instant grab, you know, and it's like, other girls don't do that, so they just don't get as much attention, or, you know, so it's just like,
there's different types of attention.
And there's different types of attention, so it's just like,
so you can't like compare yourself to people wanting certain attention. You got to kind of do the things that will attract the attention you want, the type of people you want. You know, everyone will be building their own communities in their own way, but and I think that's where comparison comes into play too, with like what we post and stuff, because it's kind of like, oh, I think this will like that's a big thing on TikTok right now too. And I talked about it with my friend Hannah for, I think it was the second episode. She gave really good advice, because she's pretty big on TikTok, and she's like, don't just do things like kind of like loud, whatever, it could be anything, whatever X thing, don't do whatever you think will just attract a bunch of followers, because then it might work.
It might work, and you won't want it, and
then you'll attract a bunch of people, and you don't even know them, and you don't know where to go from there. You don't know what to do with that community or anything. And she's like, I don't know, her advice was so good about that. And I think that can be applied to like real life, and how you dress, and how you like attract the people you want.
And it's been that's been the tricky piece, because it's like everyone wants to grow, right? Everyone wants to track the people that are interested in the same things as them, and like want the same things as them. And we all, you know, deep down, all of us want to be inspirations to other people. Like that's a desire we all have. And it's like, you know, how do I find my community online of women that don't have to be ultra feminine or ultra masculine, or, you know, that love the menswear piece, or love the Olsens, or love Tibby, or it's like, how do you find that like really good balance of your right audience, you know, and like not putting out content just to please other people or what you think they want from you, you know?
Exactly. Because, I mean, if you want to attract a bunch of people, there's a science to everything. You can, like, do certain things, you know, follow certain algorithms, and you'll get there. But if you know, a lot of people I feel like then feel a little hollow because they're just like, okay, where do I go from here?
Right.
Going really quick back to the personal style aspect, I really like how you said in terms of like letting yourself kind of surprise people and even surprise yourself like with the red and kind of having that ability. I think I've always been a really big proponent of like utilizing surprises in your personal style, or at least the possibility of surprises.
Yes.
Like you don't have to do a complete U-turn on certain aspects of your style, but knowing that you can, or putting in those little contradictions. Like I put in my notes app, and I don't know if it makes sense. I keep wanting to post it, but I don't know if it'll make sense, but I guess I'll test it with you. I wrote, the heart of personal style, or your personal style, lies in contradiction, which kind of is contradictory a little bit to what I kind of often talk about in terms of like, okay, you know, what will be, you know, repeat your pieces and blah, blah, blah. But I kept thinking about how like you have your base outfits, like you kind of have the pieces you repeat, and then sometimes you're just like, how can I do the opposite? How can I contradict? How can I throw in something different there? How can I make sure I'm not just like doing like a word for word copy from someone? You like give your own input a little bit here and there. So you kind of have to allow a healthy amount of contradiction. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh no, I totally get that. Yeah.
But it's kind of like you have to let it like ebb and flow a little bit. But you have to also have that base of what you kind of turn to that's consistent.
Right.
I don't know.
Like, you know, to play off of that, my, you know my base. It's jeans and a blazer. Yeah. That's my base. It's my comfort, and it's what I can reach for in a millisecond and feel put together. Yeah. But this year I tried a pair of Jordans. Oh. Never in my life did I ever like Jordans. Wow. I've seen Jordans on hundreds of people online in real life, and I'm just like, they're not for me. They're just not for me. I went into the next store at the Beechwood Mall. There was one pair of Jordans that were red and bone color, so that ivory color and red, and they were in my size. Last pair, mad cheap, because they were the last pair. And I'm like, why do I love these so much? I told myself, I'm not a Jordans girl. I'm not a Jordan. I don't even know how people say it, but like the Jordans. Yeah. And they were high tops. They were the high top Jordans, and they had a platform bottom. So they weren't like the flatter bottom that you're used to seeing. And I'm like, I almost didn't buy them because I'm like, people know me for this and that, and it's not that. Like if I did that, that would be going against everything that I like stand for. And I like caught myself, and I'm like, that you're so dumb. Like,
so you gotta let yourself that healthy amount of evolution.
Yeah.
Too.
Why would you stop yourself from something you actually like? Yeah. Why would you stop yourself from wearing something or trying something you're actually attracted to? Yeah. Yeah. And I catch myself doing that, and I'm like, wow, I gotta, practice what I preach. Because like we just talked about, like not caring literally what anyone thinks and just doing what you like because you can. And I bought them. And I've worn them a few times now, and man, did I feel something when I wore them. Because it's the way you wear them. It's how you carry yourself when you wear them. And that contradiction of, like, Leann doesn't wear those. Leann wears cowboy boots, like, in Northeast Ohio. Like, and she doesn't even live on a farm. She lives in a suburb. Like, what is she doing wearing cowboy boots everywhere? But that's her thing. And it's like now she's wearing high top Jordans, platform Jordans. Like, what is she doing? But
keep people on their toes.
I like keeping people on their toes, and it makes me feel good to surprise myself. Yes. So I get the contradiction.
Yeah, that's exactly how I started finding fun again in experimenting with things, because I went too far to kind of experimenting with my style at one point, like in 2019, and I didn't feel like myself. I felt like I was wearing a costume. Then I kind of went too much the other way, and I went too neutral, and I was just like, I don't even know what I like. And then I realized it's those little ways that we surprise ourselves. It's like those little, and others, but it's more about even yourself, you know? And so that little like back and forth you had with those Jordans, that's like kind of the magic of how your personal style is building inside. You're like, oh, okay, I think I might.
And
like
the more
this.
you do it, the more those little elements of surprise can implement themselves into your style DNA. You know, it's like scarves might become my thing. I don't know. You know, sneakers might become my thing. I never thought they would, but they might. And it's like,
you got to allow that space.
Yeah, you got to allow space to like not give yourself such an identity. And that's something that like has been like on my mind a lot lately, is just like the word identity. And it's like, you know, no one has to adopt an identity. That's not, you're not obligated to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Everyone has a lot of nuances.
Be many things at many times at different phases of life. So that's just definitely something that's been weighing on me.
100%.
Yeah, just that word alone.
And I guess we could even jump to shopping a little bit right now, because you just kind of described kind of you bought something you didn't expect it. I feel like you shop from a lot of cool brands. I feel like you're always like, you know, when I see a new piece you're wearing, I'm always curious like what your thought process was to like adding it to your wardrobe, and kind of like, so I guess like what are your like tips for shopping? And I guess what are your favorite places to shop? You know, what's your kind of relationship to it?
Well, I have been shopping since I got my first dollar bill. Like I love shopping. I love clothes more than probably that's probably like what is considered healthy. But you know, with all that to say, I've thrifted since the very beginning. I love Goodwill. I love Salvation Army. I love garage sales. You know, I've been doing it with my mom since I was like 5-6 years old. It's just a thing. And I used to play dress up all the time. I had my own little bin of like dress up clothes. And so it's always been within me to just love the hunt and love going out there and exploring new places, and just like Googling like what's the newest thrift store in town, what's, you know, any new vintage shops that pop up. Like I'm just always researching and pinning and saving. And I think the best advice I could give to someone who just wants to like, I don't know, just get better at shopping is just do it a lot. Because if you only shop like when you need something, chances are you're not going to find it. And that's what I have found myself like, oh, I'm going to a wedding and I know I want to wear something like silky, and you know, so I have a need, right? Like I have something very specific. And every time I go looking for it, I do not find it. And it's when I'm not looking for something, I find everything.
That's so true.
And it's like, I'm not telling you to be a shopaholic. I'm not telling you to get obsessed. I'm not telling you to like, you know, be too overcommitted to something. But like, be flexible and be willing to like, if you're getting coffee with a friend or even by yourself and you just like see a store with a sign, just go on. It takes 5 minutes. Just go on and see
browse.
What it's about, you know?
But I like that advice a lot, because it's almost like you're kind of like training your instinct. Yeah. Like people, it takes time to get good at shopping. It's
it
like,
does.
I think people don't think of it as that, but it's like you have to be discerning. Yeah. You have to learn about prices and fabrics if it's important to you, obviously. But I like that advice a lot.
Yeah. And what I've noticed with myself, as much as I like love to shop, you know, I'm also trying to be really conscious of how much I'm spending on things. Of course. And the older you get, the better you get at just like, okay, really, I wasted all that money 3 years ago on that thing, and now I still feel bad about it. So like, let's make better decisions moving forward. And so what I found myself doing is like, if I go into like a retail store and everything's full price, or even like, you know, going into Saks or Nordstrom's just to like shop clearance or whatever, like I'll see stuff I like and I immediately just hop on Poshmark or Mercari or eBay or whatever, just do a quick search, quick search, what it's going for, if there's anything similar, just like see if that price is actually reasonable for what they're asking.
Yeah.
And like, because I've found stuff at Nordstrom or whatever, and I found the same thing on Poshmark, and I get it 2 or 3 days later in the mail.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
And you save money, and it's secondhand, which is always better, I think.
Definitely.
But it's just like getting a little bit smarter and being a little bit more patient, but still going frequently. So it's like frequently shopping, but still being willing to be patient if you can't walk home with something right that second. So that's something I've learned.
Patience is such a big part of that, I think. And also just learn, again, the more you do it, you learn kind of the price of things, and kind of what I've been learning this more and more as I get older, like, and, as I, acquire either more money or kind of more disposable income, I'm like, okay, I'm a quality person.
Yeah.
I at this point, I'm like, I would rather invest in a $200 item, $150 item, whatever, instead of buy a $30 item, even though in the moment it'll feel like, oh, I'm saving money, especially if it's something important. But I rather do the investment because it's just going to last longer. Yeah. It's usually the thing I like. That's what I love. My boyfriend and I have a very similar view with that, because a lot of times, like, I'm like, okay, well, I want this thing, but then there's this one that's more expensive, and I want this one a lot more. And he's like, well, you want that one more. Yeah. You're going to use that one more. And it's just such a simple thing. And you can't always, do that, obviously. It obviously goes, it changes by item. Yeah. But I like the frequency advice, because like the more frequently you and even with online shopping, like I feel like in the last year and a half or so, I've become such an eBay head, but
same.
I feel like I'm learning a lot, even if I'm not always shopping, like I just look through my watch list, I compare, I contrast, Facebook Marketplace too for home stuff. Like I'm always like, now I'm kind of like analyzing like different styles I like, different things, and and you learn as you go, and you kind of build your instinct that way, kind of like what do I, what am I willing to invest in? What am I willing to buy?
Yeah, like the whole eBay thing. Never, ever, ever got into eBay. And this past year, I'm like, I have found more on eBay than Poshmark and Facebook Marketplace combined. And
I just got a Prada skirt.
Did you
the
really?
Other day. My first Prada skirt.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And
did you specifically like go looking for a Prada skirt, or did it kind of like
It's been a year in the making that I've been looking for just like a nice I definitely want another one at some point, but it's
What's the silhouette?
It's like it's a little bit of a drop waist, so it's like, but just like a simple, like a band drop waist, and then kind of like, I almost wore it today, but and then just kind of simple pleating.
And color?
And color is like almost like a denim. Oh. Do you know that denim, like a light like blue, but it's not a denim skirt. It's just like that denim color. Yeah. And so love blue.
Sounds
and
awesome.
It's kind of knee length, which is usually a length that I don't go for, but I'm like, okay, I don't really have that length in my closet, and it was such a good deal, and I'm like 99.9% it's real. I like cross-check like the label, and it's from like a seller that's like says it's authenticated, so I'm like 99.9% sure it's real. But you can find a lot of designer stuff really there.
And some of the stuff sits for so long.
It does.
That like, just throw out an offer and see, or chat with them in the comments or messages and just see like, would they be flexible if you're the only one interested in it, you know? Yeah. And I love eBay. It's really grown on me.
And me too. Yeah. I'm looking at what's on my watch list right now. I'm looking. Oh yeah, let's share what's on our watch list. But I'm currently on the hunt for like a cool tote bag that can be used for like the beach, but also other things in the summer. That's kind of like,
I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah, and I don't really care if it's like shapeless or more structured, but I'm actually looking specifically a bunch of Marni ones.
Oh, Marni's great.
They have such cool patterns and designs, so I am eyeing a couple, or I'm looking at maybe buying a new one from this like brand that I mentioned in my newsletter. But are you looking?
I'm always on the market for totes. I have small bags. Yeah. But there's something about big to me.
Yeah.
Big clothes, big jeans, big blazers, big bags, big sunglasses.
Yeah.
I just love big.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm also on the market for, and, you know, I go for leather.
Yeah.
I don't really do canvas too much because I'm not the best with my clothes or my bags. Like I kind of just like throw them around.
Yeah.
They have to be willing to take a beating.
Yeah.
So like leather works for me.
Yeah. No, it's
So
sturdy.
big leather tote bag. I'm also on the market for, you know, I see all these pictures of the Olsens with their Hermes bags and like the row bags and the beautiful crocodile leather embossed like styles. And I'm like, I found some great Furla bags, vintage Furla bags, which is one of the bags I brought with me today.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hard to find a Furla bag that's very big in like the tote size. I find like these medium-sized bags, handbags, things like that. And it's like, okay, I'm going to keep looking. Maybe something will happen, or like a similar style will pop up that's, you know, kind of like Furla. Like they share the same vein of style.
Yeah.
So I'm on the market for always anything like crocodile leather, you know, that pebbled embossed, just textured leather in general.
Yeah.
And like jeans always. I'm happy to see that like the cropped style is coming back. Like very, like just above the top of the foot.
Yes.
Like I really like that
too.
straight fit. And I have found that like Levi's, I think 550s look really good on me.
Okay.
They're like a solid 11-inch rise. They fit my curvy figure really nice. So that is on my wish list. And I want more than one pair because I want the washes. I want the black or the gray and the light denim and dark denim. So I'm on the market for like a straight cut vintage, just above the ankle type of style.
Yeah. I guess would be boot cut technically.
Would it be boot cut?
I don't know. I've been trying to find that too. I don't know. I've always struggled with jeans. So I guess
I feel like boot cut, it's in between like a flare and a straight because you need to be able to fit the width of the jean over top of like a shaft boot.
Yeah.
Something that comes up to like your shin. So I've kind of noticed like boot cut doesn't quite look as flattering on me because I have very large thighs. And when it gets wide around the knee and still is kind of wide going down, there's really no illusion of like tapering going on. And so that's why I mentioned I think they're the 550s that create that nice shape.
I gotta look into them because I'm just kind of trying to figure out what my go-to kind of
jeans
silhouette
are so
is.
hard.
Jeans are very hard.
They're
and
so
I like
difficult. But when you find the right pair, it is like heaven on earth.
What are some of the main things you've learned about from shopping for jeans? Because I feel like you have so many cool silhouettes and styles.
Thanks.
Like you have the barrel jeans.
Yeah, I love barrel jeans.
All over, you know, and I think those are such like a funky kind of style that you could maybe say is trending right now. But again, coming in,
I do think I guess I heard that the barrel jean was something that they tried to make happen during COVID, but because everyone was wearing sweats, it kind of got lost in the mix. And then they tried to revive it again. That's just what I read. I don't know if that's true, but like that's where like the Citizens of Humanity horseshoe jean came from. It was like right at the end of COVID, and a lot of people were just like, oh my gosh, that is the ugliest jean I've ever seen. And that's what made me want it, because it's weird to say, but I like negative attention. Like I love positive attention, but negative attention does something that speaks to this like rebellious fashionista within me. And, you know, part of my style is a little rebellious. It's like, I don't want to be put into a box because I have this figure or this body type. Like I need to be wearing these types of jeans to flatter me, you know? But speaking of jeans, it's like I really gravitated towards the low waist barrel jeans, which were awake mode. I ended up buying a pair of the awake mode low waist barrel jeans, and you know, they are a shocker. They're a very like, what? like people are confused when they see me wearing them, and I'm just like, I like it.
Yeah.
Like, I like that you're looking at me so oddly. Like, I just get, I get giddy about it. It's like, because I like looking different. I like wearing, jeans are traditional. Yeah. Everybody wears jeans, but nobody wears intentionally ill-fitting, unflattering jeans intentionally. And it's
makes
like
it fun.
that I do, and I like it.
Yeah.
So like the barrel jeans were big for me this year.
Yeah.
And technically the Tibby Sid jeans that I'm wearing now are considered a barrel, but they're more classic in the sense of like, I think the wash and how soft they are, and high-waisted, like a classic high waist, and then even just, your classic Levi's. Yeah. Cannot go wrong with a pair of vintage classic Levi's. Absolutely. 501s, 550s, 505s. Like, those are all really great. They look good on me, I think. And it's just, jeans are like, I get it. Like, they're difficult and they're hard, but like, they make such a difference if you're not wearing the same style. Yeah. If you can wear a different pair of jeans every single day, like I do a lot of times, like I'll look at my Instagram feed and be like, I literally had a pair of jeans on 7 days in a row. Like, am I ever going to do anything different? But like, they all fit and look so different. They all play a completely unique role in creating my day-to-day outfits. Yeah.
I think that's always the magic of jeans and denim. Like, I have such a not love-hate, just like a complicated relationship with them, because I struggle with shopping for them. But I've heard so much. I've heard advice that like you need to just like go try on a bunch. Yeah. Like that's like the best way. And my problem is I'm just not a patient person sometimes. Yeah. But I do love them. Like I really like, I've recently transitioned a lot more to like skirts, but I still turn to jeans equally as much. I don't know if it like shows that much on my like the outfits I share, but I still really love jeans. And like,
I can't say I've seen you like in real life with jeans on. But I'd like to.
They just are dependable, and I like how they can make any outfit more casual. Yes. And more just like approachable. But then again, like it depends on the cut you get. They can also be very experimental.
So they can really elevate too, depending on the cut or silhouette.
Yeah, or the different details. Like I've for the longest time I've wanted to get a pair that has like the zigzag zipper. Is that what it's called?
Oh, like the crossover?
Yeah, the crossover zipper. Like
they're really flattering.
Like they're so cool and so simple. Yeah. But then you see that one little surprise detail, and it's like adds that little bit of difference to it.
I totally agree. Or like these have like the mismatched pocket. Like there's a pocket up high and then there's a pocket down low. So like, and I have a large behind, so I actually like jeans that make it look different. Like smaller or flatter or like less shapely and just more straight, because I do like a straight look sometimes, and these jeans did it for me. And like, or like the weird piping, going all the way down, or so it's just like amazing, absolutely amazing, the different types of styles that these designers come out with. And back to advice for shopping for jeans, it's like really what I would stress to girls is don't shop your size. You think you're 24, you think you're 25, you think you're 26. Yes, technically speaking, you are, but not every jean creates the same effect. Like, you don't want every single pair of your jeans to be slim or hugging your body from head to toe. Like, you want some styles that are relaxed or boyfriend fitting or fall off your hips just a little bit, or you want to only have a pair of jeans that you wear with belts, like, more low slung or, low rise. Like, it's just, I've learned being, like I'm a 10-12, 5'7", and, girls are like pulling out mediums for me. And I'm like, I'm not a medium. Like, I'm a large, extra large. Sometimes I want XXXL clothes.
Like, I'm realizing that about a lot of my bottom shopping in general too. And that's such a good piece of advice, honestly, about knowing how there needs to be like
flexibility
in that spectrum you look at with your sizing, especially because it varies also from brand to brand, which is annoying. But like that's really good advice.
Like, I have friends that they get hung up on their size. They're like, I used to be a small for so long, and now I'm a medium, and like now none of my. It's just like, embrace it. Like, you have so much more versatility now. Like, you can be a small in some clothes, you can be a medium in some other things. Like, I mean, like when I wear men's clothing, I am a solid 44. 46 men's. Like, that is my size, and like I can go up, but I can't go down. It's like I can go up from there, and I feel good. Like, I can do the oversized and play around, and you know, and it's the same with jeans. It's like I might be a 10, but I've got jeans in my closet that literally say 16, and I love them. And it's just like, you just have to be open-minded. Like, don't get stuck on a number, you know, just because you think it's your size.
Totally. You know? And again, that's why trying on things helps.
Just do it.
And just you know, goes back to your advice on like, you know, going shopping frequently and figuring out what you like, what you don't like. It does take time. Yeah, it does. And but you know, you can also just have fun with it at the same time. I know online shopping for jeans for me is like the Wild West. I'm like, we'll see. Maybe it'll fit, maybe it won't. But the last couple I've bought, again, the more you learn, because I feel like I've been learning. Baby's little snore. The more I've been learning, the more I'm like getting more confident and instinctual with like shopping online.
I've also learned to like take your favorite pair of jeans or favorite anything. Measure it laying flat. And just try and replicate that. Try and find something online that is close to that. Whether you're a 15-inch waist laying flat or a 16-inch waist, it's like, take your favorite pairs and kind of weigh and contrast against that. And I found that most of the time I can really score and find what I'm happy with when I do my measurements, kind of save them in my notes section. So anywhere I go, I have my measurements ready.
That's smart.
And it makes it easier to like vintage shop too, especially.
It is. Cause there's so many variations for vintage clothes. And speaking of vintage clothes, I want to make sure we take some time to talk about your vintage curation. So obviously we talked a little bit about how you curate your own closet and your own style. And we also, similarly to how, you know, the Olsens kind of have their style and their designs. What would you say is the difference between curating for your vintage shop Clash, and curating for your closet? What are the differences?
Oh man. Well, Clash is an inspiration project, really, of my love for Nashville. And I've been there many times, and every time I go, I just get a sense of such like community, and everyone has similar styles, but they have unique vibes about them. And some people love country, and some people love rock, and some people love rap, and some people, it's just like, they're eclectic in their own ways. And every time I go, I just feel at home. I feel homey. I feel, I just love the vibe there. And when I started Clash, I wanted to bring a piece of that, not all of it, because, you know, I'm not Nashville. Not everything I stand for is like, I'm a cowgirl, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. But I wanted to bring a piece of that feeling back. And so when I started Clash, it was, you know, the name Clash just came from Cleveland and Nashville, and I put it together. And a lot of people don't know that.
I never even noticed that.
Yeah, but it's funny too, because it's like it's a good mix of both of the spirits of both of the places, but it's like embodying what the word clash means. It's like, I'm not going to be just what you think I should be. I'm gonna kind of clash with you in certain situations, or it's just like not just being what people would expect sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's like when I am curating for Clash versus when I'm curating for my closet, it's like there's a little bit more consistency within Clash, I would say, versus my personal wardrobe, just because I, as a person, experiment so much, and I love change. I love growth. I love trying on new personas and feelings. But like Clash is more of like a steady stream of both places that I feel at home at, if that makes sense.
I love
like
that. Yeah.
the hominess of Nashville that I feel, the hominess of Cleveland that I feel. And it's like there's a little bit, obviously, more streetwear going on here. There's a little bit more sportswear. There are a lot of people here that wear vintage. Like, especially if you're in downtown Cleveland, like you're going to see all kinds of things. And when you're in Nashville, you're going to see, at least what I see, is a little bit more quality. I see a little bit more quality materials, textures. People wear the same boots every day. People carry the same bags every day. People have their favorite boutiques that they always go to get things. Whereas, like, I've kind of noticed in Cleveland, we have a little bit of everything everywhere. So a lot of people are going to different places. So when I think about like putting together collections, which I do. I don't do like newness every day or, weekly drops. I do seasonal drops or collections that it's like, okay, like for the fall and the winter, we're going heavy on these leather jackets. We're going heavy on these leather vests. We're going heavy on fringe, boots, monochromatic looks, a lot of pieces that can create these monochromatic looks. And then, spring and summer, it's more like embroidery. We're going to try some embroidery. We're going to try some beading. We're going to do, slip dresses, slip skirts, things with texture and panels and pleats. And I would say everything within Clash is pretty classic, but it's enough assortment to clash with a fully classic look. It's just like and I noticed that the Olsens do that.
Yes.
And I think that's I'm subconsciously drawing inspiration from them when I'm curating for it, and at the same time while having a little piece of myself within Clash assortment without it being completely just Leann. You know what I mean? Like I would wear everything that I sell, but at the same time, you're not going to be me.
Yeah.
You're going to be you when you wear it. You know what I mean?
It's not really shopping Leann's closet.
No.
It's shopping a specific.
No. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, how do you not wear what you're selling? Like, how could you give that up for the store? And it's like, when you do know yourself, you do know what you're going to wear.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to teach that. You kind of just have to learn it over time. Like, I'm smart enough now to know that, like, I can only wear so many black leather jackets.
Yeah.
I can only wear so many. So it makes it
there's
easy.
only enough time in each day.
Yeah, and it makes it so easy to just be like, I'm going to find another one.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't get attached to my clothing very much. So
I think that's good too, because again, it's all about balance. You know, I think I'm the opposite. I think sometimes I'm attached to my clothing too much, and it leads to holding on to things that have no purpose. And
would you consider yourself a sentimental person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm stupid sentimental.
Really?
I'm like,
I wish I was. Maybe that's why I can give stuff up.
I'm way too sentimental, and it's like I'm kind of foraying into like just having a little collection of vintage pieces to sell, and it's some pieces were easy, others were hard, but almost all of them I had to like think on. Even the ones that I kind of specifically picked out from like a thrift store or something, I'm like, I will sell this. But then I took it home and I'm like,
the intention was to sell it, but then you got attached to it.
And and I'm trying to shake that a little bit, because it's like, it's hard though, because it's like, it's who I am. Yeah. I'm very sentimental about not just clothes, but also like life events and seeing people and my friends and
I can tell that about you.
Yeah. And it's a good thing.
It is.
But it is a good way to exhaust yourself emotionally sometimes. My father was like that. He was very sentimental, but I think it sometimes caused him to like stress himself out too much. But yeah, I'm sentimental about items. That's why I have a lot of like older items like laying around our house, like a lot of them from my dad, you know, because I'm like, oh, I can't let go of this. It's like part of my grief, whatever. And it's so weird how like a lot of items like that hold so much weight.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, again, it's a part of me, that's sentimentality. But I'm like, I need to not let it like eat me alive either. I'm like, I can't let it hold me back. Right. And that goes beyond clothes, but I think it ties in with clothes.
It does.
A lot.
It really does.
Yes.
Yeah. And I can look at myself and be like, you and I have a lot of similarities, but that sentimental piece is not as strong for me. So I just think when I'm curating for both wardrobes, for both Clash and my personal closet, it's like, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
Because I love new things and I love new experiences so much that it makes me happy to know that like I experienced those things. Yeah. I tried that thing. I did it. And now I get to try something new. And it's like I don't have to keep reliving it. And like, it's not the only thing for me, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like that leather jacket that I just gave away, it's not the only thing that I wear. It's not the only thing for me. I have other things waiting for me to put on. Yeah. And it's like, it makes it exciting for me to like start fresh and start new.
Part of it is also just having that hope in the for the future, which I think a lot of us sometimes maybe have trouble with, you know? And I love that advice because I think I've been trying to adopt more of like a life is in flux kind of mindset. I just have to, you know? And one of the things that has helped me get better with like not being so, you know, being just more open to the future is like, and not being so like things need to be this way. Right. One day I just told myself, you are allowed to change your mind. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Period. That. Full stop. You are allowed to change your mind. Yeah. About your, like, just use our personal style as an example. If one day I feel like doing a U-turn, I can. I love that. And I know myself, and I know I would still keep certain things rooted, but I'm allowed to just like change something up. And the same way, like you were using the example of your leather jacket, it's like something else will come along. Yeah. Or I will change my mind. And if one day you change your mind and you did want that leather jacket, you'll find something similar or the same. And I think that's so important when you're shopping and you're curating anything like that, you know, creatively in your life. It's like just believing in that abundance that it will come is a difficult thing. But yeah, I just tell myself, you're allowed to change your mind. Yeah. You can change your mind.
I am going to adopt that. Yeah. Seriously, that is amazing.
Yeah. Just like give yourself permission. Like nothing is like extremely set in stone. I wish I knew that when I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like the number one thing you're worried about when you're like just graduated high school, it's like, what major do I do? What major do I do? Yeah. And it's like, I wish I could have just told myself like, it kind of doesn't matter. Yeah. And also it's like, just pick what you're interested in, pick what you're fascinated by, pick what will like light your heart on fire. And like, if you end up not liking it, you can change your mind. Exactly. You can even change your mind after you graduate and you have the degree in your hand. Like you can still then change your mind. Right. You know? Like, but people think it's so set in stone if it's like on paper, if it's in these like concrete terms that it for sure needs to stay. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell myself.
Now that I'm in my 30s and like reflecting back on what I was like in my 20s, it's like I really put myself in such a box and like your family did this, so you have to do this. Yeah. Or your family expects this of you, which they've never told you. Yeah. You just think they expect it of you, that you're going to go that route. Or you think so-and-so like, you know, thinks you're better at this, so you need to do this. And it's like, I'm like just now learning in my 30s that nobody cares what I do. Nobody cares.
That's the most powerful thing to tell yourself.
Nobody cares.
No one
literally nobody cares. No, it's the literal
Nobody's paying
truth.
attention as much to you as you think they
Yeah.
are. And even if they do for a minute, they'll probably forget about you. Do you know what I mean? I think we get so hung up with that on social media specifically. Like, oh, what if this person from high school is like looking at my stuff? It's like, first of all, you can block them if you don't know them in real life. Like, I'm sorry,
you can set boundaries.
You can set those boundaries, or you can just leave it alone and just. They don't care. They really don't.
Yeah.
And if they do, like, that's more sad about them that they're like keeping tabs on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, 90% of the people don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I know how I am on the internet. I'm just like, I see people doing complete 180s from like what I knew them as, and I feel proud. Like, I get a sense of pride for them because I'm like, here you were, I knew you like this.
Yeah.
But now you've done a complete 180 and now you're doing this and you seem really happy. Yeah. Like really effing happy. And that makes me happy. But then the thought just, I move on. Yeah. I like, oh, I'm happy for you. That's cool. And now I go walk my dog. I go to the grocery store. Like, thought gone. Like, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like we just think about doing new things and just adopt the mindset of like, people are going to notice for like 1 second, either feel like bad about themselves because you're doing it, or they're going to feel happy because they knew you one way and they see you really happy now. Yeah. So, but then either way, the thought is gone and it's such a short window. It's just like back to the people pleasing thing. It's like we do it more than we think we do.
Oh, we do.
But if we let go of it and just really be ourselves, and like as cheesy as that sounds, like, we all do it.
It can and it can hold such a power over us that we don't even realize. We think, oh, well, if I do this one little thing because I think it'll please someone, that's a drop in the bucket. That's not going to affect, but it builds and it compounds. And then before you know it, who are you at the end of the day? Yeah. But not just like pleasing these people. I know because I've been a chronic people pleaser for the longest time in so many ways, and I'm finally letting go of it. And back to exactly what you just said about like how we view others. It's like why are we so afraid to like be visible, trying something new, trying something different, doing something that's maybe
seen doing it.
I think I saw that on TikTok somewhere or something. It's like, why are we afraid to be seen trying? And I wrote about that when I wrote about like earnestness, and I realized like, why does this word have such like sometimes a negative connotation? It's like, oh, this person's just like too much, like trying too much, Yeah. It's like, but it's a lot of times ourselves thinking it on ourselves.
Yeah, and I know from personal experience, like there'll be things that I won't come out with until it's ready. Like even like with Clash, I was just like, I'm not telling a soul that I'm doing this thing until I have all the collection curated, all of the website done. Everything has to be so perfect before showing them that I'm doing it. Yeah. And it's like, man, does that become so stressful and like the pressure we put on ourselves. And it's like, I love what you said about don't be afraid of being seen trying. Yeah. Like letting people see you try. Yeah. It's not that you're failing. Yeah. Like letting people see you fail, because it's never a failure to try anything. Yes. Just to see if it's something you like. Yeah.
Experimentation is like the most fun part of life. Like having that like playing aspect. I was just talking about this with my friend who's a photographer, and I'm trying to get back into like photography just for fun. Yeah. And I think her and I were kind of comparing how like we sometimes like we start a creative project and we're like, oh, this needs to be something. It needs to, like, we need to know exactly what the purpose of this project is. Right. Is it for Instagram? Are we submitting it somewhere? Are we, I think of that with my writing sometimes too, but it's just like, we'll just wind it back for a second. Just like play, just like have fun. Just do it for the sake of doing it, because that's what the art is about. Right. And I think that can be applied to outfits too. Like, totally agree. When you're getting dressed, it's like, oh, but what if someone looks at me and I look weird and blah blah. It's like, did you have fun putting together this outfit? Are you having fun looking at yourself and not just looking at yourself, but feeling your outfit on you? Then that's enough. That's good. Yeah.
I totally relate to that, because like, my husband and I work from home, and there's no reason to there's no reason to really put an outfit together, right? Mm-hmm. But I love to play.
Yeah.
I love to create. I don't want to feel boring every day. Like, and that was what made it so hard being like in lockdown and stuff, because it's like, I'm a playful person and I'm a creative person, and I can, but it feels pointless, you know? And it's like creating now, it's like, I get to create the life that I want to live. Mm-hmm. I get to create the mural of my life. And even if I'm just going to a coffee shop to like play on my laptop or my iPad, like, I want to feel and look good when I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. And there needs to be no explanation for it. It's just get comfortable playing. And like, you know, there's like, my mom used to tell me, it's just something she used to say, that oftentimes you feel the happiest when you just act like a kid. And it's like, the things that I loved to do as a kid were literally playing dress up. That's what I did. I pulled from my dress up box. And I'm like, I do it now. I still do it now, and I'm almost 33, and I still play. I still play the same as I did when I was little. And it's like, those pieces of you don't really go away. You just have to learn to say yes to letting that person come out. Because you get so used to being an adult, and like, this is what adults do. We go to work, we come home, we make dinner, we go to the gym, we take care of our kids. And it's like, whatever happened to things for you? Whatever happened to playing for playing's sake for you? You know?
It doesn't have to have that end goal, like result or something to, you know. I think that there's a lot of truth to that when thinking about, like, you know, the monetization of your art, you know, like, obviously, like, you want to get paid for your work, but you got to still make that time to just do what you love for no purpose, you know. And I keep reminding myself that with like my writing, you know, finding that balance of like, I still want to be successful, I want to make money, I want to get to that point, but especially in those beginning stages, like, if I just get an idea and I'm just like, and if I'm really going to stop myself from writing down that idea, because I'm just like, well, what is this going to be? Is this going to be a essay or a book or a TikTok? Just write it down. And then I literally did that the other day, and it was just on my phone, and I'm just like, I don't know what those 2 notes are going to do, but they made me happy in that moment, just jotting something down that I was thinking about, you know? So,
and that reminds me of like utilizing, part of play is like utilizing the tools around you to do the things that you want to do now, but even in the future, like your notes section. Just, if you get a random thought, just write it down. If you want to do this thing, just set it aside so it reminds you, put it in front of you. If you want to experiment with, you know, wearing this jacket this day or wearing this jewelry, lay it out. Like, lay it out on the table in front of you so you can see it and you're reminded, like, that's what I'm going to play with this week. You know, it's like leaving the putty on the table. It's like leaving the Play-Doh on the table. It's like, every time you sit down to eat your lunch, you're going to see that Play-Doh and you'll be like, I'm just going to like play around with it for a little bit. Like, I'm just going to feel it in my hands. It's like having that same approach to like, just put it in front of you, write it down, do what you need to do so that you're ready to pick it up and begin the play. You know what I mean? So,
have it readily available and not like hidden away. I mean, I think that could be even directly applied to like your art supplies of life, you know? Like,
for sure.
Like I paint as a hobby, but I haven't done it. I haven't done it in a while. And I have like a whole box of paint stuff, and I just keep them hidden away in the attic. I'm like, should at least bring it downstairs.
Put it in front of you.
And then I'll probably pick them up more. And I love that metaphor. That's so beautiful.
Cool.
I think that's our time, though. Okay. We are getting there. And I want to make sure we don't run out of time. It's like 4 now. I'll also do an outro once you head out. I'll just do not an outro, just the intro. But yeah, thank you so much
thanks for having me.
For being here and chatting. This was so fun. I just love.
Thank you, Davey.
Yes, he was our good little mascot for the day.
I'm a pit bull lover now.
Yes,
like, I've never had a pit bull experience ever in my life. My first time.
That's our goal. That's our goal. He just such
a sweetie.
He just like really swoons everyone he meets.
He really does.
But yeah, thanks so much for
Thanks
coming
for having
on.
me.
And yeah.